Hi, my name is Valerie Stevens, and I want to share with you how do you do a peer review if you've been assigned one. And a peer review is where your instructor has assigned you another course mate's assignment for you to review. Now, usually that's a writing paper, but it could be a presentation, it could be a movie, it could be almost anything that's assigned. But you're reviewed, or you're going to be the reviewer. You're going to leave comments for that student, and sometimes you're actually going to give them a score using a rubric. So let's take a look at this assignment. We've got this peer review presentation, and there is a rubric on how you are going to score the other student. But also, you'll want to use this rubric before you do your assignment, because the key to peer-reviewed assignments in Canvas is that you must first submit yours before you can review anybody else's. Okay, so if your instructor is giving a huge amount of credit for your review and only a little bit for your submission, you see how important it is to at least get that submission in so you can get to the reviews. Okay, once you've submitted, okay, and we see that this student has submitted, that over here on the right-hand side of the screen, when you're in the assignment, you've got who you're going to be doing the review for. Now, your instructor may not let you see the students' names. They may just be anonymous. And when that happens, you don't know who's you're grading. Okay, and I think maybe that makes it a little bit easier because if you're pals with Carson here, it might be harder to be honest with Carson on how he did on his assignment, right? The other place that you're going to see that, I'm going to select home. You'll see that when you're in at your course homepage, that I've got a couple of peer reviews here that I need to have done. Okay, so you can access them from here as well. So let's go ahead and select this peer review. And this particular one happens to be a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, you've submitted yours, you know what it's all about. What you're going to do is select the PowerPoint presentation and download it, and go ahead and find your download. Now, if you're in Google Chrome, usually it pops up in the lower left-hand corner. If you're using another browser, you might have to go find that. Now, it's nice if your instructor gives you an extra copy of that rubric in paper form, maybe that you were able to download and print off, and then you could make your comments and kind of give your score as the presentation's going on. And I suggest that you do that. You take notes whether you get a downloadable rubric or not. Okay, but we've watched the presentation. This student is ready to review. You can leave a comment right here for your student. Maybe that was a great presentation. How about, see rubric for more comments. Okay, now when I save this, it's going to add this comment here. Okay, to get to the rubric where you really want to put your comments, it's up here in the upper right corner. You're going to select Show Rubric. It brings the rubric up, and now I can look at what was I supposed to be scoring in this particular section. And in this one, I am going to look, is the topic in depth? Are there reliable sources used? Were the suggestions creative and interesting? Okay, so those are like 3 out of 5 here that I've just read to you. You'll notice that over here in the ratings, they either get 50 points, 0 points, or they could get anything in between. Okay, so let's say they did, out of those 5, they did 4 of them really well, but 1 they kind of missed the mark on. So we're going to go ahead and give them a 40. And I just need to type that right in here. And you'll notice down here we've got a 40 now. Now, I don't want to just give them a number. I want to give them a comment as well. So I want to leave some really good comments, because just a score doesn't help any. So maybe I'm going to say, I checked your sources and they really didn't seem reliable, because it probably was on the website of some place that just took you to some clickbait, right? So it lets your fellow course mate understand why you've given them that score. Okay, so the next one here is organization. Let's just take a real quick look at what they're supposed to be looking for with organization. And one of these is a clear conclusion or summary is given. An opportunity for Q&As were given, even though there's no real audience in this presentation. Okay, that's just a couple out of the organization area. And let's say they met almost all of it. I'm not going to take a full 10 points off. They didn't really have that Q&A section or even pretend that they did. So instead, I'm only going to give them a 27 here because the rest of it was really well organized. So you don't have to take the full like 10 points off if there was 3 sections there. But you kind of get what I'm getting at, because now we've got a 40 and a 27 and we've got comments on there. Select Q&A, so they know exactly again what we're dinging them on. And the last is mechanics, and we're just going to say they did great in the mechanics. No spelling errors. It was great. And so we see that they have an 87 out of a 100, and they understand exactly why you've given them that score. Now understand that that is not necessarily the grade they're going to get. You've just scored them on what you thought was happening. Did they achieve their goal? Your instructor can override your score at any time. Make sure, though, that you're helping your fellow course mate and giving them honest feedback. So I'm going to go ahead and save my comments, and that saved now the peer review so that the student that you reviewed can now see those. And they will see the instructor's comments as well. Okay, so we know that Jane commented on Carson's presentation. So we're now logged in as Carson, and we look over here to the right. We're at our home page of our course, and as I scroll down through, there's recent feedback. And right there I see that there was a peer-reviewed presentation assignment that has feedback on it. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Now you would not see this if the instructor hasn't completed their comments as well and given it a grade. Because if you remember, Jane graded and it was an 87, and the instructor graded and made it an 89. So apparently Carson did something really much better at some point. Maybe that took into account the review that he did of somebody else's. But we're going to go ahead and open that recent feedback. And now we see that we can look at the rubric. Again, we're going to select this in the upper right hand corner, and I want to look at the comments, show assessment by Jane. Okay, so we're looking at the one that Jane did, not the one the instructor did. So I'm seeing exactly what Jane had to say about my content and the score that was given. Now again, this might have been anonymous. So if you're assigned as an anonymous reviewer, they're not going to see your name up here. What they'll see is anonymous reviewer 1, anonymous reviewer 2, because you may have had more than one course mate assigned to review your presentation or your paper. Now, if it's a paper, you'll be able to open up and actually see all the comments that they may have written all over your paper, just like it is when your instructor marks up your assignments with comments. I hope that this has been helpful for you to do your peer review assignments. Thank you.